This is Ray, aka the Grand Finale, one half of the Opposites Attract podcast. So this video is gonna be a first of keeping it a grand. I know you got the video the other day, more with Encore, featuring my talented and beautiful cousin, aka co-host, Aja, aka Encore. Do you want more? And she gave you guys some insight into why she chose to pursue a career in social work. So let me give y'all some backdrop first and foremost. So basically, I reached out to Aja one day via text message and said, hey, you know, I got an idea for a way for us to get more content for the channel. And one of the things I was going to do is something I was already doing via Instagram and my Facebook story, where I would do, while I was on my way to work, I would do like a quick video, and I would grab a topic and do a quick video, and it could be something like talking about communication or just a motivational vid to encourage people to keep moving and keep pushing and keep doing what they're doing, or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to do something similar to increase the amount of content or the amount of videos that we were putting out for the podcast via YouTube. So with me coming to her with that idea, she loved it so much that she decided to record the video of her talking about her career in social work and why she chose it. So I said, you know what? What's a good way for us to get a month's worth of content out for the first time since we've launched our channel? And I said, why don't I back hers up, and in between videos, she did hers. We put out a full-fledged video. Link will be in the description. And I can talk about my passion and something that I love to do. It's not something that I have a career in, but it's something that I really enjoy. And it's something that I find to be comforting and soothing, which is writing and music. So I figured doing this video would be a good way to give you guys some insight into me, as well as create more content for our YouTube channel. So yeah, here we go. So basically, I love to write. This is something I've enjoyed doing since I was young. I want to say like elementary school. I took a liking, and I can't remember where it started, but I took a liking to poetry at a very young age, and it was soothing. Gave me an opportunity to express myself, things I was seeing, things I was feeling at a very young age, and I think I kind of found my stride as a writer from writing poetry. So I did that for many years, just kind of doing it, just something I just enjoyed doing as a youth. It was just my way to kind of, express myself. Got into about junior high school, and it was funny because in junior high, my first introduction to making up my own lyrics, so to speak, to a song was to actually be singing someone else's song and changing some of the words around to make it my own, so to speak. And that was something that a bunch of us would do. We would take a song that was really popular and revamp it with our own little spin on the words or the lyrics or whatever the case may be. And that was kind of my first introduction into rapping, I guess if you want to call it that. Mind you, I'm still writing on a consistent basis. Just writing different poems and stuff like that. It was my way to kind of get the girls when I was young, and I'd write them a little poem, and they would love the poem. Oh, this is so sweet, and all that, all of that young, youthful stuff. But yeah. So between writing myself and revamping lyrics to songs that were already out, I wound up coming across this team of guys who rap, called the Ill Squad Assassins. And they gave me a crash course in being an MC. You know, I heard them rap and was so intrigued and so interested in what they were doing that I figured I wanted to learn that too. So I approached them and, hey, could you guys teach me how to rap? I want to learn. They already knew that I wrote, but they always knew, you know, like I said, I wrote as I was a poet. That's what I did. So they gave me the format. They started kind of guiding me into the direction of how to write a rap. And that was the spark I needed to kind of take off and do my own thing. So I started writing these quote-unquote battle bars. The battle bars are kind of like what you hear on like mixtapes, or like the kind of approach that you would hear from like early Eminem type of works. Not to say that it was on Eminem's level, but those were the style of lyrics I would write when I first started to get in tune with writing from the mind or the eyes of an MC. And that's how the Ill Squad Assassins wrote as well. It wasn't really a lot of concept-driven lyrics. It was just, I'm better than you. This is how I'm better than you. This is why I'm better than you. Those types of things. So got into that, you know, moving around, this, that, and the third, you know, writing my little verses, battling the guys from Ill Squad, growing as a writer and getting more in tune and learning more about music and writing my own songs and things like that as I got older. So one thing that I was always really good at, especially when I got to high school, keep in mind that me learning how to rap was something that took place while I was in junior high. And I gradually started to get better at doing it. By the time I hit 9th grade in high school, I thought I was pretty good. That was me. There was some people around me who thought so too, but one thing I was always really good at was freestyling. And I'm talking about freestyling in the traditional sense. When you freestyle, it's supposed to be spontaneous, right on the spot, right then and there, unrehearsed. I was pretty good at that. We had a guy by the name of Anointed S. His name was Sean, but his moniker was Anointed S. And he beatboxed. So met him, and during 6th period lunch, he would go in and do his Rozelle, Dougie Fresh beatbox thing, and guys who rap like myself would rap, freestyle right on the spot while he did that. And, you know, it was just a fun time in the high school lunchroom, in the cafeteria, going in, doing what we do. You know, those are some of the fun times that I had with, you know, being I guess you would call it now a creative. Being in those arenas and being amongst those people who are also creatives themselves kind of pushes your pen and pushes you to be inspired and, you know, pushes you to write and things like that. So, you know, I kept with it. I stuck to it. And it was something I would do just for fun around my boys, around the family, around the folks. People that knew me, that knew I could rap, would always want me to rap when I was around and things like that. And it was just fun to do. Until I started, I actually did have like 3 battles. None of them on cam. I would say I won 2 out of the 3. The other one I think I would say is a draw because it was incomplete. Excuse me, incomplete. Incomplete is not a word. It was incomplete. The other 2, one was this guy by the name of Chewbacca or something like that. Yeah, weird name, I know. And I saw him on Fordham Road. And he walked up to me and a friend of mine and was like, "Oh, I'm the best rapper in the Bronx." And me and my ego, I said, "What? Huh? You gonna have to prove that one, bruh. Can't say that to a rapper and think you just gonna slide and that's gonna be it." So we went a couple of rounds and crowds started to form on Fordham Road. And One of his mans pulled him away. He was getting his boots smoked. One of my other times having a battle was, believe it or not, I used to have long hair. I used to get my hair braided. Used to go to a salon, get it braided, then hit the barbershop right after, get my edges tightened up, get the line up and all of that. I kept my hair pretty, nice. So the owner of the salon where I used to get my hair braided at, her son rapped, and they always used to talk about how he blew an opportunity to potentially get signed by Diddy. I don't know how true that is. I wasn't there, but this is the story that they would always tell. So one of my friends, one time that I was getting my hair braided, while they were discussing the owner's son, had mentioned that I rap. So of course, in hood fashion, all the females and everybody that was there for getting their hair done or that worked in the salon was like, yo, y'all got a battle. Let's go. So they hyped it up. We battled. I smoked him. Got my hair done and went on about my damn day. His mom wasn't very happy when she heard what happened. But it was cool though. He was super cool about it. It was fun. And one other time was this kid in the neighborhood called Pills. That was his name, Pills. And he was dope. He was dope. He was dope. He was super dope. He had like that poster boy, Big L kind of bar metaphors. Like he was dope. He was dope. That was definitely a fun battle. Salute to him if he, still around or whatever the case is. Much respect to him. He was dope. Super dope. But anyway, so fast forward, high school, I started doing music. Me and my, it was actually, I missed a point where during my time in like junior high school, I formed a group with this kid, Darielle, and this girl named Cece. And it was called Lost Cause. That's what we called ourselves, Lost Cause. And we tried writing together and stuff like that. Never really did anything with it. There was no real recordings or anything like that happened. That was actually one of my kind of introductions into trying to be an artist and actually writing songs and learning the format to write songs. And they didn't live close in the area, whatever the case is. And so we kind of lost touch. And I kind of liked Lost Cause as a name so much that I kind of kept it and was like, I'm keeping this. Like, I'm going to run with this. At this time, I think I was being called, like, Pac 1 or some stupidness like that. The name sucked. Yeah, so, go back to fast forward into high school and getting our first inexpensive laptop. I think my brother bought it. He was working, and he bought a little inexpensive, like, $50, $100 laptop. We threw, like, this program called Mixcraft on it. We had like one of those really inexpensive like Logitech computer microphones, and we're trying to learn how to mix and record songs on it and trying to learn how to take beats off the internet. This is back when dial-up was still a thing. And that was kind of how we started trying to build on becoming actual rappers. Salute to my boy Kenny, because when I did have a solo thing going on, he actually took some engineering classes, and at one point, way after high school, we would link up and record at his crib and try to make something happen that way. It was crazy, just trying to find my way as an artist. But in the meantime, I was always writing. Fast forward to now, and I feel like I'm in the best writing space I've ever been in. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I've grown a lot from being a youth. And one of the things that I've always carried with me as an artist and as a writer is that writing has always been my outlet to express myself. Writing has always been that release that I've always needed to kind of keep me leveled, to keep me, on even ground. Being a writer has allowed me to divulge my innermost thoughts in some of the most creative ways that I could come up with. And that's one thing that I think keeps me writing, because a lot of people, they start out wanting to be a rapper and things like that, and they wind up quitting, or they get older and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore. But me, I think writing at this point in my life is not done for the sake of becoming the next Jay-Z or the next Nas or Big Sean or Migos or whoever. It's because for the grand, writing does something for here. It does something for my spirit. It does something for my heart. One of the reasons why I put out the project Life on Audio, I'll put the link down below in the description. And that was a release. I was going through some tough times, lost parents, you know, marital problems. Like it was a lot. And in this project, I was able to talk about those things freely without the scrutiny or without feeling discomfort about talking about it. It took me months to complete. Shout out to Encore again. She used to give me a hard time all the time about how, you know, it's taken forever to come out. And once she finally heard it, one of the things that made me smile is that when she told me what she thought about the project, one of the things she said was, now I see why it took so long to complete. Like, she got it. You know what I mean? I also want to shout out my bro, Boogie. Lost Cause for life, forever. One of the greatest moments that I've ever got to experience with my journey as a writer / artist or creative, if you want to call it that, is the day that my brother got to high school. And funny, we went to the same high school. He just went to that high school, obviously, at a later time. Him coming to me and saying, bro, I want to learn how to rap. And now here we go, fast forwarding from his high school years. My brother's about 30 or so now. And he's one of the dopest rappers that are unsigned that I know, just because even from early on, he spoke from a place of, this is what I'm feeling, this is my heart. So big shout out to him. He's been there with me through the journey of learning how to make my own beats, learning how to mix, learning how to engineer, you know, learning the little tricks and trades, you know, for mixing a good song or a decent song. He's been there to see the countless hours I've invested in trying to learn this craft, and the money spent and things like that to, you know, to get better at making music. And the one thing that was sharpened through that process is my ability to write. And it brings me to the thought that even now, I'm in the end stages of finishing my first book. It's a children's book, and it's called The Light in Me. And it's going to be about the way the book is being written is to give kids a sense of esteem, self-esteem, courage, to embrace who they are, and to not let anything discourage them from their greatness. And I'm doing it in such a very childlike way, so it's easy for any child to grasp, where I'm using my daughter, shout out to Lyric, as the main character of the story, who encounters her friends throughout the school day and gets intertwined into their different situations where they're lacking self-esteem or they're discouraged by something that they're going through. So, you know, that's something I'm working on. But music has always been the passion. It's always been my way of releasing my thoughts, specifically through writing, because writing has always been my first love. It's just now I use my writing in the creative process of making music. And I'm also still writing outside of that, as I just mentioned with the book. So, you know, music is really something that I would say that if that was missing out of my life, then a piece of the grand as a whole would be missing. I couldn't honestly sit here in front of this camera and imagine life minus writing. I would feel empty. I would feel lost. I would feel like a very important part of me didn't exist anymore. To give you guys some insight into why or how important music and writing is to me in my day-to-day life. Writing is actually one of the reasons why I communicate as well as I do. I do have a lot of, work to do on the way I communicate and the way I interact, but the reason I'm able to articulate myself as well as I do, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I write. It has a lot to do with my journey with writing and having to write different things from personal to fiction to nonfiction, like all different types of genres of things I've written, even if it was just for me to write because I felt like writing and needed something to write about. That practice is what I'll call it. That practice is the reason why, I'm able to articulate myself verbally to anyone that I have a conversation with. But yeah, so writing, music, I didn't even get into me teaching myself how to produce and things like that, because the most important part of this was me becoming a better writer through the process of writing and music, or writing music. So, I just felt like that would be a great thing to share with you guys, because it gives you guys some insight into the people that you're watching put up these podcast vids, and share with, anybody who's willing to watch. And a lot of you don't know anything about myself or about Aja. So, video is probably over 20 minutes long at this point. I still got to do some editing to it, give it the intro and the good, how we do. So I just want to say I appreciate everybody for tuning in that's been showing us support. Once again, shout out to Aja, a.k.a. Encore. Do you want more? She does not realize how much I adore her. And little do you guys know, we started out despising each other. And now I couldn't imagine my world without her. To give you some insight there. But appreciate everybody that tunes in. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell. Get notified. That's what we're going to say. Get notified. Hit that bell and get notified. Appreciate you all for tuning in. We'll be back. We haven't chosen our next vid topic, but we'll be back soon. This video is definitely going up for the next piece of content. I appreciate you all.